episode 98 of One Man's Opinion. Today I am reviewing Goodspeed Musicals' production of the classic Julie Stein, Stephen Sondheim musical Gypsy, with a book by Arthur Laurents, directed by Jenn Thompson, choreographed by Patricia Wilcox, and running through June 25th at Goodspeed Opera House at 6 Main Street, East Haddam, Connecticut. Gypsy is often regarded as one of the greatest musicals ever written, with almost every song, from Let Me Entertain You to Rose's Turn, being a classic. Suggested by her memoirs, Gypsy is the story of Gypsy Rose Lee and her rise from child performer in the dying vaudeville circuit to one of the most renowned burlesque dancers of the 20th century. The story starts with Gypsy Rose, at the time known as Louise, as a young girl played by Cameron Blake Miller as part of a traveling children's act starring her sister, Baby June, played by Emily Jewel Hoder. The act is supervised and created by their dominating mother, the mother of all stage mothers, Rose, played by Jude McLean. Louise, now as an adult, played by Talia Suskauer, who has always played second fiddle to her sister due to her more plain looks and general lack of talent as a vaudeville performer, is suddenly thrust into the spotlight when June, played by Laura Skye Herman as an adult, has finally had enough of her mother's abusive behavior and runs away. With no one else to take the stage, Louise is Rose's only choice moving forward in a dying art form. Jenn Thompson has overall assembled a great cast. Suskauer is phenomenal as the stage-shy Louise, though her character is a bit tone-deaf. Suskauer is not. Her performance of Little Lamb is adorably sweet and charming, and her evolution over the course of the Gypsy strip routine is perfect, each turn on stage opening her up a little more, confidence growing, and her ascendance to womanhood and stardom become complete. Skye Herman and Jewel Hoder are insanely adorable as June, the younger and older. The amounts of saccharine sweetness emanating out of their performances during their vaudeville acts is enough to scare a dentist out of the theater, and it's perfect. Philip Hernandez, who gave the performance of the year as Don Quixote in Westport Country Playhouse's Man of La Mancha a few years back, returns with a solid turn as Herbie, the family's agent who has a romantic fancy for Rose and a fond affection for June and Louise. Unfortunately, the weakest part of the cast is McLean as Rose, who, though gives a serviceable performance, tends to be about a quarter tone flat in her songs and never quite manages to express the narcissistic totalitarian insanity that is Rose. By the time her 11 o'clock number Rose's Turn comes around, on the insanity meter, Rose needs to be at 11, and McLean gets to about 7 or 8. I never felt the necessary mania and wild growth of desperation for success from her. A lot of her performance informs how the rest of the cast does, as she is really the focal point of the show, and everything moves around her, especially Hernandez's performance as Herbie, since he gets little stage time with anyone else. Overall, though, the show has a lot of great elements. Patricia Wilcox gets to show off her talents as a choreographer with Tulsa's fantastic All I Need Is a Girl, where Tulsa, played by Michael Starr, dreams of getting away from the oppressive thumb of Rose to do his own act, which he has developed. The You Gotta Get a Gimmick number is wonderfully silly, as 3 elder burlesque dancers, Mazeppa, Electra, and Tessie, played by Romelda Taryn Benjamin, Victoria Huston Alem, and Valerie Wright, respectively, show Louise how to keep the men interested in their acts as they have faded in their looks. What was fantastic with Thompson's direction was not making the opening "Let Me Entertain You" so sweet that we lose the important reality of child exploitation that is being conducted by Rose with her children, especially of June. There is an overt connection between how the song is performed at the beginning of the show and how it is performed at the end by Louise as an adult. When reflecting on the song during Louise's performance as she strips before the audience, it has us question the morality of its first performance with June more than Louise's performance. June didn't have any agency as a performer, while Louise is doing something far more adult, but is singing the song of her own volition. Alexander Dodge, who is one of my favorite scenic designers, has conceived a fairly simple set. The show predominantly happens downstage with a backdrop with advertisements for different businesses across the United States where Rose and her troupe of children have traveled. Paul Miller's lighting design plays a prominent role with the design as he frames some of these ads to give the audience an indication as to where we are in the country. It's a clever little idea that avoids the need for super titles projected for us to know where we are. Goodspeed Musicals has developed an overall excellent production of Gypsy. The younger cast in particular give crowd-pleasing performances. I just wish we had a bit more out of McLean. Then everything would have been coming up roses. But I am only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you would like to see Gypsy, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. You can support my channel by becoming a patron over on my Patreon page. I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. You can also support my channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and click the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be Ivyson Playhouse's production of On Golden Pond. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.